We always talk about the younger generation feeling so entitled to everything. You know it's our own fault, right? Today we're going to talk about entitlement. Let's get into it. I said in the beginning that it's our own fault, and I'll tell you why I say that. Even though we don't like it, even though we feel some kind of way about it, all of that type of stuff, I'm going to tell you from my perspective and how I raised my children and the difference in the way I was raised and taught than the way I raised my children and taught them. So when we were growing up, right? And just follow me because I'm gonna get to it. I'm going there. We didn't have a choice whether we wanted to do it or not. We didn't have a choice whether we wanted to learn it or not. We didn't have a choice of any of that. You know what I'm saying? As boys, we had to do yard work. We had to help my daddy build a garage. We had to help him do mechanic, but we had to help at everything that he was doing. But on the other side of that, we also had to keep our grades up, keep our homework done, and we had to learn we had household chores. We had to learn how to wash clothes. We had to learn how to cook. We had to learn how to clean up. And when I mean clean up, I mean when we wash dishes, like we all had a week to do. It's your week to do dishes. It's might be my week to do the bathroom, and somebody else to do washing and all of that kind of stuff, right? And I'm talking about boys, young boys, which is why I can do all of that for myself now, right? And all of these things that I say in my videos are never to boast or brag or boost me up. It's just to say the way we learned or how we were taught, right? We had to do all of that. So, quick story, my first apartment, people used to come over there and they just swear to God that it was a woman living there because I had plants and I had smell good shit and my place was always neat and clean, but that's who I am. But a lot of that came from the way I was raised. So let me not, it's still on topic, but let me not get too deep into that. That's my whole point. It was like they taught us different things. They made us do different things, and they, like I say, yard work, cutting grass and trimming and edging and all of that kind of stuff. And I'm not even talking about weed eaters. I'm talking about with little chop. What they call them little things? Now they call them bush axe, but they was, I can't remember what you call them. But anyway, all of that type of stuff, right? My dad used to pour cement or build on shit or work on shit, and we always had to be there. We didn't have a choice whether or not to be there, right? And he made us do it. He didn't take over, which is where I'm going, right? And I can go on and on and on about my childhood and what we were taught and how, but I'm not. I'm just comparing then to now because when I was raising my kids, and it's all relevant, which is why they have such a sense of entitlement, right? Because we did that. Because even as a youngster or as a child, I always said to myself, I'm not going to make my children do this. I'm not going to make my children live like this. I'm not even realizing that those were the best years of my life or our lives. Because sometimes I tell these old school stories and old school stuff that we used to do on another platform of mine, and people eat it up. They just love it because people love to reminisce. But the point I'm making is how I raise my children is way different from the way I was raised. I shouldn't have done that. The whole disconnect, I can see it in my children and my nieces and nephews, right? Because all of my children were born in California. Not to say nothing bad about California, but just setting the stage for something. All of my brother's children were born in Louisiana, in New Orleans. And they've been around my mother, and they've been around they've been around for a long time. Matter of fact, my brother had his children when he was younger. I didn't start having children till I think I was 32, but that's neither here nor there. The point I'm making is that we were raised to say yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, right? So I go to California and I kind of lose that, not lose it, but I kind of made a point in some cases not to do it because with certain people, that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that another video. But I lost it. I didn't lose it because I said it when I was at home or around people that I thought were deserving of it. Let's put it like that. But I didn't teach it to my children. That's where I'm going with that. But because my brother's children never left, and like I said, the way we were raised, you couldn't walk in the room and not speak. Good morning, good evening, how you doing? Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, all of that, right? I didn't teach that to my children. So I'm sure when I brought them back home to Louisiana, it was a culture shock. You see what I'm saying? Not only for them, but for the people for the people who I was raised by. Mother, my brother, his children, all of that type of stuff, right? They eventually got into it because they followed suit with my nieces and nephews. But I'm saying that to say I didn't teach them that, and I should have, right? There were times when my wife mentioned this the other day. I follow a lot of car channels, but this one channel, Cool Car KJ, he has two young boys, and he has a tow company. He's into OBSs and stuff like that. So he has two young boys, and he's teaching them how to work on cars and build their own cars, and I'm sure other stuff in life as well. But he was helping his older son Bray. He Bray is 15. He gave him a OBS, but he allowed him to work on it. Long story short, he was helping him to work on it, and I saw me in him. My wife saw me in him, not just me, but my wife is a social worker, so she see a lot of children, and she's a people watch person and all of that. So her comment was, just let him do it. She said, just let him do it because that's how you're supposed to. You don't have patience. She talking to the TV, but she also talking to me because then she turned it around. See, y'all, meaning men, and not all men, but some of us who are impatient. Y'all get too impatient, and then that started me to thinking, which is why I wanted to make this video. But that started me to thinking. That's the truth because then I could see myself in him when my son was younger or when my daughters were younger. It's like if you tell them to go clean the kitchen or go wash the dishes or go do something, and they either taking too long or they're not doing it right, you kind of take over and be like, move, let me just do it because you're in a hurry, you want it done now, for whatever reason, but that stunts them, that makes them not know. You feel what I'm saying? And even to the point to where I didn't give them chores like that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't pressure them like we were pressured, which was a good thing that they did pressure us, and now I'm grateful for it. But I didn't put all of that on them like that. You know what I'm saying? I did make them clean up their rooms. I made them, be respectful to elders and all of that type of stuff. But it was a lot of things that I could have taught them better by making them do it and not getting impatient and say, move, I got it. Just go over there. Just go do something. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, a quick pause. Teach your children and allow them to have that side of life. Because we always, I'm saying we, but I'll just use me for example. I don't want them to suffer the way I suffered. You know what I'm saying? I don't want them not to have because I didn't have. I don't want them to miss out because of some of the things I missed out, which is okay, but it's not good. It's okay because I understand where it's coming from. But even though the shit that I did miss out and the shit that I didn't have and the shit that all of that, my life still turned out good, really good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm grateful for the way they taught me and the things I had to learn and all of that, because just for the simple fact, now if my car break, I fix that shit myself, because most of what you're gonna get charged for is labor anyway. Parts are getting expensive too, but I'm just using that as an example. You know what I'm saying? Or if my wife have to go on a trip for however long, or God forbid something happens to her, I'm gonna still eat because I can cook my own food. I can clean my own house. Matter of fact, I still do that. I don't cook as much as I used to. She does all the cooking mostly, and but I still help clean up around the house. I do the floors, I do the bathrooms, I do all of that. And again, not to prop me up, just to just to make the point, right? And why I'm glad they taught me what they taught me and made me do what they made me do. You know what I'm saying? We was up cleaning every Saturday morning. I mean, like spring cleaning damn near every weekend. Walls and baseboards and everything. And then go outside and cut grass and make sure it's edged up and make sure you rake it up and pick it up. We ain't had no blowers and all of that, but not to get on that. But I didn't want that for my children, which was not a good thing. Because even though that was coming from my heart, I just didn't want them to have to struggle. But now I make them entitled because everything they needed, I did it. Or their mama did it because she was the same way. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about my last two children now because we were all in the house together. She would do the same thing. Move, let me just do it because you tripping, or you doing whatever, or you know what I'm saying? That gives them less experience. That gives them the entitlement that somebody else is going to do it, that somebody else has to do it. That's where entitlement come from. You know what I'm saying? Um my baby girl hurt my heart so bad one day. This is when she got grown. Now when she was younger and little, younger, her mama couldn't even play with me like that. Really play like, you know how people be joning and clowning and capping and stuff. Her mama couldn't even talk about me just in joking. She would get hard down mad. But long story short, we had a disagreement about something, and out of everybody, out of all of my children, I always thought she would be the one to Jeff for me. She would be the one to stand up for me. She would be the one that nobody couldn't tell her nothing about me. She told me out of her mouth that I never did nothing for none of them. Now I can take that from the rest of them because we got those type of relationships where I wasn't always there for them. But you, not to get off subject, that's all a part of entitlement. You know what I'm saying? Because the things that I did do, you don't even realize. You feel what I'm saying? Because you had it so good. Because they didn't have everything they wanted, because I didn't always have the money to give them everything they wanted. But what I could do and what I could give them, they had it. And a lot of times they had a lot more than what some of their friends had. Let's just say that. So I'm talking from experience. I'm talking from transparency. I'm talking from my life experiences, right? That's why it's our fault that these youngsters are entitled. You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't raise them the same way that our parents raised us, and the same way that our parents were raised. You know what I'm saying? Where we had to make do when we had to make do. And we had to couldn't play football because mama couldn't afford no cleats, or mama couldn't afford no money for no physical and all of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't do this and we couldn't do that, but we turned out good. We turned out independent. We turned out to be able to survive if we need to survive, and that's the difference. And I'm not taking away from the, however they call them, the Gen Z, Gen X. Like I say, I get confused on all of that because I don't know which one is which and all of that. I'm just talking about the younger generation now that are so entitled, and we fuss about it all the time. Why are they so damn entitled? They act like they just deserve everything. You supposed to give them. Well, you did that when they was a kid, so you fussing, but you ain't even really thinking about that part. You the one who did that. But now, just like me, I expect them, because every time I picture me having a conversation with my son, and I'm like, bruh, where that come from? Where you get that from? You ain't never seen me do no shit like that. Well, they say you're supposed to live by example, but you're also supposed to teach and not just live by example. You gotta speak the words and show and tell and all of that type of stuff. But I'm using that to say, in my mind, you should have seen what I was doing. You should have picked, like, even though my dad and them taught me a lot of stuff, I wanted to do what they were doing. I wanted to uh 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 build fast cars and drive fast cars. I wanted to know about cars. I wanted to know how to build shit. I wanted to do anything my dad and my uncles was doing. But this generation is different. And that's because, like I say, in the beginning, we didn't have a choice whether we wanted to or not. You gonna do it, and that's what I said, and that's what it is, right? But we feel like that's what's the word? That's bullying. Even though I'm the daddy, even though I'm the daddy, or she the mama, we bullying the child, and we not giving them respect, and we not, bruh. Come on, man. Y'all, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because that's the atmosphere and that's the time we're living in now. You know what I'm saying? But again, they made us do things even when we didn't want to do them. And in the end, they turned out to make us better people. But because we didn't like it sometimes, we didn't want to do, we wanted to give out, like they say you can't give people everything they think they want, because they gonna feel like once I get out in life, they gonna get heartbroken, they gonna get tore up, and the world will eat them up because this is all I know. Everything I ever wanted, I got. Now it's different. I can't do that in the world. You know what I'm saying? Nobody never told me no. Now every time I go in the world, they gonna tell me no all day long. You feel me? Or nobody ever treated me like this, and now I get in the world and I don't know how to handle it. That's what I'm saying. All of those are things that stem from us trying not to teach our children the way we were taught, or trying not to raise our children the way we were raised. You know what I'm saying? We didn't have choices. Now I see this whole mentality of children have choices. They can say they don't want to do this, or they can say whether or not bruh. Anyway, so much for that. I just wanted to touch on this and say again that we get so frustrated with the younger generation because they're so entitled, but a lot of it we brought on ourselves. A lot of it stems from what we taught them or didn't teach them. You know what I'm saying? And so we can't really get mad about it. You know what I'm saying? We got to teach your sons how to do stuff with their hands. Teach your daughters how to do stuff. I mean, and I'm not talking from the old school perspective that a boy got to be able to fix cars and cut grass and do everything. and the girl got to do everything in the house. No, we weren't raised that way. We had to do everything inside and outside the house, and in school, and in church, and whatever else we had to do. So I'm not saying what's a man's job and what's a woman's job. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it from that perspective. But I'm saying truly teach them. Truly let them go through some shit. Let them understand that life is not going to be perfect. It's not going to be always good. It's not going to always be good. You're not going to always get your way and all of that kind of stuff, because eventually down the line, it's going to jack them up. And that's where we get all of this craziness, because people feel like that's all they know. You can't blame a person for acting out in a certain way when their whole life, that's how they got what they wanted. You know what I'm saying? If you say no, they fall out on the floor, and you say, "Here, boy, get up. Come on, take this." Or, "Here, girl, just here, just get some." That's what they know. Every time I fall out, I'm gonna get my way. Now you could been grown up. Now you grown and you done got in the world. You could fall out all you want. But guess what? You ain't gonna get your goddamn way. You just gonna be on the goddamn floor, kicking and screaming like a fool. And now your mind and your spirit and your heart, everything broke. Cause ain't nobody ever taught you that you don't always get your way. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't gonna make this video too long. It's already getting up there, but I just wanted to touch on that because I thought about that. And sometimes I think about that I wish I would have taught my son more, or I wish I would have taught my daughters more, or I wish I would have gave them more opportunities to be in different situations and scenarios, which in turns give them tools for life. You know what I'm saying? And that's the difference in the younger generation and us, and why they're entitled, because we didn't have a choice, and it didn't kill us. It just made us better. You know what I'm saying? And basically that's it. I probably can go on and on about it, but I'm not. So I think I made my point. That's the difference, and that's why in most cases we're the reasons why they are who they are. So we can't get mad with them for being who we made them. So y'all be easy, and we'll see you in the next one. One love.